Agile transition. Shuhari, and before you start. If you were hired to help an organization in their transition to Agile practices, what would be your first step? Usually, most consultants prefer using the Shuhari method and push for implementing the rules of the Agile framework they are going to use. Shuhari is a Japanese martial arts concept and describes the stages of learning towards mastery. Basically, Shuhari stands for 3 steps to mastery. 1. Obey the rules 100% without questioning the outcomes or purposes of the rules, or why these rules exist. 2. Know why these rules exist and what the purpose is. Start breaking the rules or adding new ones according to the circumstances, but only to achieve the very same result. 3. Move away from the mechanical structure. Create your own approach and adapt to what has been learned in particular circumstances. I do agree this is the best way to learn something and become a master of it. However, as it is coming from martial arts, it needs obeying the master, you, the consultant, no matter what. I have worked with several companies either transitioning to Agile from old school, or that have managed to practice Agile but are still having some issues. None of them would give you the comfort of saying, "We are all yours, you can do whatever you want." They will question you and the framework. They will try to find the weaknesses of the framework that you are trying to put in place. Do you know why? Because having someone bringing you into the organization to start the change does not mean that you have the buy-in from all of the organization. Let's say the organization is used to having a 2-week period before each release to stop development and only do tests to fix bugs before it gets deployed into production, and you are trying to get the organization on board with Scrum. If you say, "We are not having 2-week test periods because done should mean done, no bugs should be present in a done feature," then one of these two will happen, but nothing else. The teams will either keep on the same principles and set items to done, and you end up with a crappy release, which will result in a painful 2-week period to get the release stable in production with patches over patches. Or the teams will not be able to set anything to done, and you will keep on carrying over technical debt from one sprint to another, which will result with no release ready to be deployed. The organization will not be able to make quarterly or monthly release plans because you won't be able to get the release ready. In both of these cases, you will start losing confidence and support. What is the right way of getting everyone on board and having a successful transition to Agile? First, you have to sell yourself to everyone as a servant leader. The most important thing you have to achieve is earning everyone's respect and trust. The only way to achieve this is using the principles of being a servant leader. You need to help people, whatever this help means. Sometimes it would mean preparing presentations or filling in boring Excel spreadsheets. When people see you getting your hands dirty to do the difficult tasks for them, they will not see you as a talker, but they will see that you are an amazing doer. I know that most Scrum Masters or Agile coaches like saying that they are not there to do the task. They are there to facilitate. From my experience, don't do this. Lead by example. Then you will not even need to facilitate, but the team will self-organize. The start needs you to lead, and leading by example is the best way to achieve it. This first step will take you to a position where people will start asking you about the problems they have with the current process and structure. This is the second step. They will start complaining about things, which is the best opportunity to start putting in your framework one by one, not for the sake of the framework, but to bring solutions to individual problems. This is similar to having an incremental progress rather than a big bang change. The third step is to start being more proactive and pointing out the barriers blocking your framework. If we take our previous example about having a test period before release, find out what is causing the buggy release and suggest solutions. Maybe you will suggest increasing the budget for test automation, hire test automation developers, start using a new tool, etc. This third step will be removing obstacles that will fail you during your Agile implementation. Finally, after all these, you are ready to start Shuhari. You have the trust and respect. You removed the obstacles. Now it is time to teach your student. If the organization becomes an institution for new practitioners to learn Agile practices from the organization itself, then it means you have reached nirvana. Spotify is a company that I can give as an example of such an institution. I would highly suggest you have a look at Spotify's best practices. I added some of them to the course documents for you. The next lecture will be on leading by example, which is the most important skill to leading the change.